Και τώρα θα ήθελα να περάσουμε στον επόμενο μιλητή μας, τον κύριο Γιάννη Doxaras, founder και CEO της Workly, ο οποίος θα μας μιλήσει για τις αλλαγές που παρουσίασε η πανδημία στο B2B Trade και στην καταναλωτική συμπεριφορά. Κύριε Doxaras, καλησπέρα και σας ακούμε.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here and be part of this excellent online discussion. So I'm John Doxaras and I'm the CEO of Workly. Workly is a company that's been around for the last 8 years, and what we specialize in is consumer behavior programs, consumer loyalty programs, and B2B trade in a global scale. So what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to go through some use cases that we've launched in different parts of the world during the COVID pandemic. And in terms of B2C and customer experience, because I really believe that the change of customer experience will actually give us the way forward in terms of how we design customer interactions, and again how we backward design the channels that we actually use to reach the customers. And then I will discuss a little bit about the changes in the B2B transactions and international trade, and how this lack of the ability to actually fly in a trade expo and meet your distributors in person would actually change the way we do business. So there were a lot of use cases that we had to launch, this kind of augmented reality spaces where we had apps given to consumers in order for them to, when they spend time within their homes during the lockdown, they had the chance to renovate their homes and put furnitures in specific areas within their home. So this is interesting because it generates a new type of data and a new type of needs for the end consumers and gives them a more personalized way. Another use case we've launched in Middle East with one of the large furniture retailers there, IKEA, was a virtual store where we could actually walk through and have experience the same walkthrough that you have in a physical store. And the challenge here was to actually label all the actual products, the e-commerce products, on the images and video footage that we had in order for them to be interactive. Another very interesting use case that we are seeing in different parts of the world, and it has to do with all these real-time payments and chat payments and all these chatbots, is a solution that we have where you can actually talk to a virtual sales sales machine, a bot, order your pizza, and then be able to pay through the actual messaging app they're using, or through the keyboard or the operating system that you're using. So this kind of gives a seamless experience on checking out and actually creating a virtual basket in a chatting environment where most of the customers out there are very accustomed to use. One of the use cases that we saw a very huge uptake was the skip the line use case with a takeaway kind of option. We serve Starbucks in several countries, their loyalty component. So the idea here was that you could pre-order, you could skip the line as you do in an actual use case, but this increased sales more than 250% because people would actually pre-order their coffee and actually visit the store and take away the coffee and move forward. Another very, very interesting use case is that we've seen with several banks. We have a use case, a large use case in Brazil with a bank there called PagSeguro, one of the largest PSPs in the market. They have 6 million merchants. And the idea there was that you could actually build an e-ordering platform on top of your existing e-commerce platform and acquiring platform. The idea there was that you could actually enable small and medium enterprises to actually accept orders without go through the online aggregators and having to spend a premium to Deliveroo or Uber Eats or Delivery Hero, this kind of platforms to actually accept a transaction. So this kind of gives us an understanding where things are moving, and this is another interesting use case where we're doing with several retailers. And these are some use cases we're also working with BKA consultants in several parts of the world, where you can actually do your own shopping cart and do a self-checkout without having to interact with the person at the cash registry. And because of the COVID and the limited access to the indoor brick and mortar floors, this would give you an interesting experience. And the last use case I'd love to share, and this is an interesting solution that we're doing with a large ice cream provider, it's a supplier there, is a concept of interactive fridges where you can actually tap your mobile device, and then you unlock the fridge. You pay through a Google Pay or Apple Pay device payment method to open the fridge. Then you take parts, you take products from the fridge, and then you close the fridge, and then you can actually have a basket. You get a receipt in your email, and you can move with your day without having to download an app or register somewhere or do anything like that. And this is a very strong use case, and we have a lot of different suppliers in dairy products, in ice creams, in beverages industries that they want to build this kind of distribution models, given the COVID, and being able to deliver this kind of products into a mass audience. So we're seeing that all these kind of interactions are starting to change. They're becoming more digital. Even traditional brick and mortar trade is becoming very digitalized, and this gives us an opportunity of tapping into the data that is generating with all these transactions going on. And we will actually right now discuss a little bit about how things are changing on the trade side. So the idea is that we're in Greece. We're a country that is that's the supplier driven. We need to find buyers abroad, and we need to kind of start rebuilding the corridors that we have in economies of scale. As you all probably know, an international trade transaction has a lot of different steps, from contacting the exporter, contacting the buyer, getting a credit check on the buyer, sending some samples through courier services. The sample can either be sometimes perishable, so you need different packaging. So there's a lot of different steps that you want to fulfill this transaction, and then obviously, conclude on the Incoterms, find a freighter, etc. So we really need to have centralized platforms that can handle this kind of end-to-end transaction. We saw eBay as one platform that provides this kind of different steps to medium and smaller producers. But what about large producers and large distributors? Then the idea is that right now in 2020 we have tools in our disposal that they have to do with process automation and blockchain, as we heard earlier, and smart contracts, and transportation platforms and freight platforms that they right now have APIs, so it's really easy to actually interact with them. And revelations in user experience, like all the chatbots I discussed, and the AI, and all these instant translation services between different languages, which is also a barrier in the B2B commerce space. And we also have different distribution models, like the push to take intermediates out of the picture, and certification processes, especially for when you want to get like FDA approval to export something in the US, and additional services like credit insurance, and having harmonized production in order to keep the quality high of the product. So right now we're entering this era of the fast track exporter, as we'd like to call it, which means that even actually producers that even have the ability to export, or the knowledge, or the infrastructure, and the logistics, and the know-how, they now have the tools to actually use this kind of corridors very quickly, or combine 3, 4, or 5 different tools. And these tools are actually given to them by either trade organizations or their partner banks. So there's a lot of stakeholders trying to give value to this end supplier, and that's a huge opportunity for all of us, because at the end of the day, you don't have to access only the target market of the Greek population, but even the European Union, which is the universal market, or other markets or target markets. So all these trade barriers we used to see in the past, they're now becoming opportunities, such as the customs issue, or the consumer diversification of trying to build different products for different markets to target different consumer segments, and obviously all this e-commerce regulation that they're harmonized right now across the US, the EU at least, and all these logistics that we see. So the general theory of marketplaces up until recently was that we had the online directories for B2B, typical sales transaction. And then we had all these digital marketplaces that would actually give you also all the logistics, and they would also give you access to customers and the payment gateways and all these tools that you need to do a transactional, an international transaction, international sales on a retail side most of the cases. And we also had this, what we call, these procurement marketplaces, which we also see a lot of startups, taking into the taking a lot of business and a lot of volume transaction in this field. Like, we have the traditional Ariba by SAP networks, but we now have TradeSafe and Sectex, which are very strong contenders. So at Workly, we have a solution that guys actually goes through the entire window and on an end-to-end basis, and it can give you a transaction that you can follow all the steps and you can make any decision within the platform. We are giving this product to several banks, and we're very happy to share with you that we're also running a pilot right now with Enterprise Greece, and the idea there is that we're taking a lot of some very prominent and some very educated and mature exporters, and we're trying to match them with sellers from different countries of the world, with buyers from different countries of the world that we know that are interested in this solution. Another use case we're running in the Greek market is called it's an e-procurement service for the fresh market, which is the OKA market. And the idea here is that it's a B2B marketplace for fresh meat and fishes, vegetables and fruits. And the idea here is that, because of COVID, it's easier to procure your orders through your from your wholesaler as a retailer from this particular channels. So a new kind of service that would actually try to tap into a local market in the beginning, but then on a global market on a later stage. So that will be it from my side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Doxaras, for your presentation. It was quite, I could say, explanatory about the new trade B2B marketplaces. So I would just like to ask you one question. Would it be easy for you to give us an example of B2B trade bargaining technique for the US retail market?
Sure. I mean, there are different entry capabilities in the US market. Obviously, there are some online marketplaces that someone can actually register their products and they can have access to the local market. And there are also some very interesting, logistic kind of plays within the US market. We can have, kind of logistics as a service for particular products. So you just going through customs. This means that you store your products in the US soil, and then you actually going through customs as fast as you're actually selling your goods without having to go to actually, take all your goods through US customs. There are other techniques that you can find to, tap into the grocery listing kind of space, and these are techniques that you can use to, these are techniques like loyalty programs and consumer kickbacks. And the idea there is that you can actually leverage most of your trade marketing budget without giving it directly back to your distributor, to your grocery retailer, but instead of building some loyalty coupons and customer benefits in terms of starting to build a one-to-one connection with the end consumers in the US market.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your time.